All right. Hello.
Oh, good morning, Sarah.
Hi. How are ya?
I'm good. Sarah says my setup looks like a talk show host.
It does. Like in the best. I mean that in like the best way. I don't mean like.
But I wish I had like a fancy camera, because right now I still have this same like webcam up here, and like it's not doing anything. It's like it does not have any color correction. Like, it's not a friendly camera. Sometimes when I use this camera, people will write to me, "You looked really tired today."
What the heck? How rude.
And they say it like out of concern. I'm just like, no, you don't tell me that I look tired.
Tell me I look fabulous, okay?
Exactly.
Even if I look like, a sea hag, tell me I look fabulous, okay?
Exactly. Exactly. And I think part of it is just because the iPhone cameras are so much more forgiving.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
So, good morning, everyone. Tell Sarah that she looks wonderful, and let's jump in today.
Oh my goodness. Oh, so let's see. Everybody is here already.
Yeah, where is everyone today? Because we're live in a lot of places. It's like most folks are on Sarah's YouTube channel. So if you want the most like chitter chatter in the comments, head it to Sarah's YouTube channel. And then it looks like Sarah's Facebook page also has a bunch of people as well.
Yeah. Loving all the chitter chatter. I was looking back here because there was something there was a comment that came. Oh, it was Cecilia. And I don't know why this stuck in my mind, but she said Happy Taco Tuesday to everybody. And I'm starving. And I was like, oh, it is Taco Tuesday. I'm going to need to fix that. I'm going to need a taco here very, very soon. So hello to Cecilia and Taco Tuesday to everybody out there.
Oh, right. It's lunchtime for you. I was like, I don't want tacos right now. It's 10 a.m., but maybe later.
Listen, I don't know how I'm going to eat for the rest of the week, to be completely honest with you. We're having the kitchen floor ripped out, right? So we had to move everything in the kitchen into the living room. The dogs and the cats are in the back of the house, all closed off from the rest of the world. And I guess I'm going to eat takeout for the next 4 days. I don't know, but I am
a barbecue?
Starving. I do, but it's on the other side of the house. So you'd have to go out and walk all the way around to get to it. So it's like, well,
because maybe Q could cook every single meal on a barbecue. It's like a chop challenge this week.
I could get behind that. But listen, just so that everybody knows, if you hear like banging and power tools and all that, that's in my background, and I apologize for the extra noise. But it eventually will be gone. Fingers crossed.
I think folks already know, if you hear background noise on my part, it's just the lovely sounds of bubble wrap and orders being sent to their new home. So we can't,
which is an exciting sound.
So no apologies for beads flying.
So let's talk. Oh, I'm frozen.
Oh no. Okay. So this is something does happen with Sarah's streams. We have a solution. It's hard to do. But Sarah will freeze a couple times throughout today, but that is okay. She always comes back, usually.
I'm back.
Welcome back. I stall. Don't worry, I stall every time. So what are we doing today, Sarah, while we still have you?
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. I was going to say, what wonderful products do we have in the show today? Because we're working with some things that I love, love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
we're having a leather day on today's stream. I'm very excited because we got Indian leather in for the first time, maybe a couple weeks ago now. Okay, probably it's more than that, but what's time? So we recently got leather into the shop that is just this love. Indian leather is known for being very high quality. A lot of the leather that you've probably used in the past is likely Indian leather. That's where just a lot of the industry is. So what's cool is you can find leather in such an amazing array of sizes and colors. Like literally, it's overwhelming how many sizes and colors we are able to get. So we started with 3 sizes: either 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter, 6 millimeter. Most folks, as a standard, use 1.5 to 2 millimeter as a go-to leather cord, which is awesome. What you don't
Right.
see as often are like the smaller and bigger ones.
Yeah.
And that's what Sarah's featuring today, which I'm super excited about, because you have the 1 millimeter actually has been our best seller of the leather so far.
Yeah. I think it fits into so many different beads.
Yeah.
Which is surprising because I think people think automatically just because it's leather, it's too big to fit, but it really will fit into a lot of things. I mean, you're going to kind of struggle with your gemstones, but I have yet to find a Czech glass bead that it didn't very easily go into. So I'm really excited about it. Really excited about it. It's one of my favorite things to work with. So
you guys, because there's multiple projects today we're doing. So there's a lot of leather inspiration. We're treating today as like a intro to leather. And so we're just going to fill today with all sorts of tips on ideas to work with leather and how to use leather.
Yeah.
It should be a lot of fun. By the way, you'll see if you go to the website, I have a link below the stream where it takes you to like the supplies for today. We're pretty low on some of the leather colors, some of the size, like just the 1 millimeter size. So there's a few left of each. You can definitely scoop those up, but then go ahead and join waitlist. We already have our next order in the works, and I think we're also going to be bringing 1.5 millimeter leather by request of Wanda and other leather loving folks. So lots of leather to come, and we also have tons at the site right now. We have those 3 sizes plus suede plus some braided leather and tons of cord ends to go with it. So I thought for today I sent Sarah a nice selection plus some gemstones, so she is bringing together
beautiful things.
I'm very excited. Yeah, do you want to show us kind of what we're doing today?
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and turn you all around, and we'll take a look at the leather that we're going to use. And then I kept all of them out. So what you sent me was a little bit of everything here. So I've got this one. This is the 1 millimeter. This is what we're going to be using.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is, and that's
so my favorite color.
Soft and supple. I know. I love this color. What an amazing neutral this is. It works in so many different color palettes. It's very quickly become one of my favorites because you can make this warm, but you can even mix this with cool tones and it looks amazing. So really, really love that. And then I have this one that you sent me.
The dark brown.
This is what a 2 millimeter. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the 1, that's the 2, and then the 6.
Right. So the 2 actually is going to fit a lot of things as well. If you've got some large hole beads, this is going to fit really nicely. But I do want to remind everybody that you can always start with bead stringing wire as your core, and depending on what you're going to do with the leather, you can still manage to work with regular drilled beads and still incorporate leather, which is pretty cool. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then you sent me this 6 millimeter that is, oh my, you sent me the most magical color ever, of course.
I did pick out the color. I did pick out the color for you.
I'm so in love with this. You can do so many things with this. People, don't be afraid of your large leather, because just because the beads don't fit onto it doesn't mean that you can't wire wrap onto it. You can knot onto it. You can sew through it. You can stick a needle straight through it. You can, there's so many things.
I love how you're not, what? I was going
to say, can you tell how much I love leather and cord?
Sarah sent me an email. She's like, we should do more leather days. I love leather.
I do. Any kind of cord. Leather, of course, is the top of my list, but anything that I can knot onto or wire wrap onto, like, I get really excited because knotting is really kind of where I got started. So using leather obviously means that I get to tie some knots in some form or fashion. You can macrame onto this, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. We're going to actually do a little bit of knotting, just a quick little something. If we have time after we make our regular bracelet, I'll show you. You can take and mix and match your leathers, which is super cool. And then, as Sam mentioned, we've got the cord ends here, and these are so easy to use. So they're
perfect from Tiara Cast.
Yeah, and they're gorgeous too, which is nice.
The hammer tone finish. So
I know.
this is gonna be fun. You guys ready? This is gonna be a fun day.
Yeah. Let's do it. Okay, so the bracelet that we're putting together is super easy peasy. Okay, super easy to put together. But I do want to talk about a possibility, like I mentioned, where you can use bead stringing wire instead of, or with, or whatever. So let me start out with just the leather. So I'm going to take some of this 1 mm, and I'm going to use probably 2 feet of this for my bracelet, because I'm actually going to fold this in half. Okay, so I'm going to cut 2 feet. That's probably going to be way more than what I actually need. But depending on what size beads you're using, you don't really know for sure, right? So it's a good rule of thumb to always have more than you think you're going to need, particularly if you're going to create knots, because knots definitely take up more of the leather than what you think they do. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the middle, and I'm actually going to offset. So even though I found the middle, now that I found the middle, I'm going to take one of those cords and I'm going to slide my loop that I have where I'm holding in the middle, and I'm going to offset by about, I don't know, 5 inches. So now we're no longer at the middle. I've got 5 or 6 extra inches on one side, but I'm still kind of folding this in half. Okay. And I'm going to tie an overhanded knot because I'm going to use a button for my clasp for this. However, you don't have to do that. Let me show you what I mean. So let's do our overhanded knot and make sure that it accommodates our button here. I'm using a tiara cast button. You can grab lots of buttons over in the bead shop. So
yeah, I picked out some of my favorite. I had a little fun time putting the collection together for today. So I put a few of my favorite tiara cast buttons that have the shanks on the back. Yeah. Not to say you can't use the ones with 2 holes, but I was kind of following Sarah's lead with the shank button today.
So yeah, and you definitely, what's cool with the 2-hole buttons is instead of doing tying a knot like we're going to do at the end, you can actually take your leather cord or whatever you're using and go through the 2 holes. So you do have lots and lots of options. But if you're going to do it this way, you definitely, or if you're going to use a button for your clasp, definitely want to be sure that the loop that you tie is big enough to accommodate your button. You don't want it to be too big though. I always try to measure right up against it because I don't want my loop to be so big that my button slides through there too easily, because I don't want my bracelet to fall off. So I always kind of double check before I tighten down my knot. Okay, now I'm going to use my tying station for this, but I do want to talk about, I'm going to bring in 2 tying stations. The first thing I'm going to do, now listen, you don't have to have a tying station for this. You can literally tape this down with some painter's tape. You can use a clipboard. You can pin it to your bead mat, whatever you need to do. I'm going to take my loop. I'm going to loop it over the peg. And then I'm just going to put all of this back. Now, if you don't want to use leather as your core, you can take a piece of bead stringing wire, okay? And I'm just going to give you a quick little example here. You're going to take a piece of bead string. I'm not even going to cut it from the spool since we're not actually going to use it. Let me grab another tying station.
Are you about to tie onto the stringing wire?
Yeah, you can tie onto your stringing wire, which means that it doesn't matter if your leather fits through your beads or not, right? So you can, hold on. I lost one of the pieces of this tying station, so I'm just kind of having to, but you're going to load on all the beads that you're going to use, right? And then attach your your bead stringing wire, and then you're just going to knot the leather onto the stringing wire. Listen, Wanda, I have 4. Okay, I have a problem. I may have a tool problem. But you can use your bead stringing wire as your core, right? Tie your leather that you're going to knot with onto this, and then you can still use actual hardware. So you don't even have to use a button. You can still crimp, use your wire guardian or knot, and loop through a jump ring, whatever you want to do. And you can still use regular hardware if you use your bead stringing wire as your core. So just because the leather, let's say maybe you buy the 2 mm leather, but your beads don't accommodate that, you can still just string those on to the bead stringing wire. So you've got options, which I think is what makes leather and cord and knotting so cool. Okay, so going back to the one that we had before, we are going to take that shorter cord. So remember, we took our cord, and when we tied it in half, we have a longer cord and a shorter cord. Our shorter cord, you want to be sure that that shorter cord is at the very least 9 to 10 inches long. Okay. But your longer cord, that's what you're actually going to tie your knots with. That's why it needs to be a little bit longer. Now I'm using some of these gorgeous beads. Sam, tell us about these.
Yes. Let's see. We'll get the grand reveal in just a moment.
Look how pretty.
I think I know. Yeah. Okay. So Sarah has our large hole Czech tubes. I think we have these in at least five colors these days. They're really cool, especially like a lot of them are etched like this, which is like one of my favorite Czech textures because it has like such a rich gem feel with that texture. Yeah, these are really cool. The whole size is on the listing. I'm trying to remember exactly what it is. It's at least a couple millimeters.
Yeah.
So it should fit on your 2 millimeter cord as well.
Yeah, it will.
1 millimeter here, right?
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. Because I did this bracelet 2 different ways. These will fit onto the other. It helps if you cut your cord, if you cut that leather at an angle, so you've got a little bit of kind of a point to it. That really will help it to fit. And these will fit. You just kind of have to wiggle them a little bit, but all of those will fit onto your 1 millimeter. I mean, your 2 millimeter cord. So just so you know. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to thread all of these on here. I'm threading on, let's see, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I thread on 10 beads, and then I'm just going to secure my other end. Now, you're not going to believe how stinking easy this is. Like I'm almost embarrassed at how easy this is.
That's my favorite type of art.
Right? Mine too.
It's like tie-dye. It's like, wait, you did all that? Well, that's amazing.
I know. This is so stinking easy. Okay, so I'm going to take this longer cord here. That is my cord to knot with. I'm going to slide 1 bead up. Okay. I'm going to take the cord. I'm going to make a P shape over the top of the cord. Take that cord, go behind, pull it up through the P shape and pull and slide up another bead. That's all. Like that's really literally all there is to it. You don't have to do 2 steps. You don't have to do anything else. Like that's literally the only thing you do. Okay. So let me show you again.
Sarah.
I know it's so easy and you can do it with everything, which just makes it even cooler. Making a P shape, right? It's crossing over your core. You're taking it behind so that you can pull it up through that P shape that you made. Slide that up and slide up another bead. Like that's all. And you can see it's literally just a loop around. Is literally, quite literally, when you look at it, that's all it is. You're just looping around. You're taking the leather and looping it around.
Oh.
Do you see what I mean?
And then it just stays put?
Yeah, it just stays there. It's so silly. It's so easy. It's silly. It like makes me giggle. It's how easy it is.
This is why I sent you the leather, Sarah.
Well, I mean, I can do all kinds of crazy, in-depth, intricate 3-4 step knots. And that's all well and good. And I want people to want to do those things, but it's nice to have a jumping off point that really gets you excited. So something that is this easy, like this is going to hopefully be like your gateway drug. And you're going to be like, oh, I need more leather because that was easy and fun. What can I do next? You know what I mean? So yeah.
I'm getting a lot of questions about what materials are being used. So, folks, I made a whole page yesterday so that it's super easy. Everything's in one collection. So if you go to, I'll drop the link again, but if you go to that link, you'll find everything. Because these tubes are called, because I can't even keep all the names straight at this point, but they're all there. Yeah, those are the large hole tubes. Yeah, they're all they're just called large hole tube. The Czech glass large hole tubes. So I'll drop that link right now.
So this time of year in particular, because Father's Day is coming up, I get lots of people asking me about unisex jewelry. And lots of people really get frustrated with unisex jewelry because, you know, what makes unisex jewelry? Like, that's a whole loaded question in itself. I like to think that leather is one of those things that everybody can get away with wearing, right? So if you're looking for something easy to put together for a man in your life, then this is it for sure. Super easy.
We get excuse me, we get the request a good bit in the shop of ideas for making more unisex and men's jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think leather is just like such a nice classic place to start, especially with now they have a lot more options than just like your 2mm leather. But I also think what's so cool about it is you use leather in your jewelry all the time.
Yep.
And obviously, I don't know how you would classify it, but like I like that you do also just use it in your everyday jewelry.
Yeah, I do. I love leather. It's really versatile. When you are able to use it like with a button or even with a lobster clasp as your clasp, I think that just kind of takes your jewelry to a different place. You know, it gives you, like you said, there's so many options. When I can say, okay, well, I don't want to use regular hardware today. I want to use a piece of leather and maybe a hook. Maybe I want to make my own little, wire hook and hook it onto a leather loop. Like, those are some really cool options that you have that really kind of help to expand your creativity, I can't hear you. Where'd you go?
Oh, I muted.
There you go.
We both have so much background noise today. I was trying to keep myself muted, but I forgot to unmute.
But look,
I was saying I love all that.
So quick. We knotted around 10 beads in less than 5 minutes, right? So we got to the end. Now we need to kind of figure out how to finish this off, which I'm going to show you. And then I'm going to take it to the next level and add dangles to it because I can't not do that.
Oh, so. I forgot about the next step.
So I am going to go ahead and take this off of the tying station here. And if you're curious as to how you would attach the leather to the bead string wire, I will show you how to do that. Because I don't want to just kind of leave you hanging with that. So let's do this first. And then let's go and look at the bead stringing wire that I put on the other tying station. Okay, so now at this point, we need to tie an overhanded knot with both strands. And you can see I've still got a little bit left here to work with. We're going to tie an overhanded knot with both strands. And that is going to make sure that the last knot that I tied around that bead is going to stay nice and secure. So I'm just going to tie that down and pull it right next to the knot that we just had. Okay. Then I'm going to come in with my button and I'm going to take both pieces of the leather and go through the shank of the button. Now you might have to wiggle them, but at least for me and this button, this tiara cusp button, both strands will fit. I'm just going to pull that down right next to the knot that I just made, right? And then I'm going to tie another knot to secure the button. And then you can just trim off the ends. You can add, beads to the ends if you want to, make little dangles.
And totally. How are you positioning that knot? That's something I struggle with.
Yeah. So I like to use my beading awl for things, but if you don't have one of these, you can use a T-pin, you can use a safety pin, you can use just about anything that you can stick in there, to kind of pull your knot up against. I do leave a little bit of wiggle room in there, but you don't have to. You can tie it tight if you want to. But then that's basically it. What I have found with this leather that you sent me is that it's nice and grippy, which is something that I look for in a really good leather for knotting, because sometimes that outer color is not grippy. This is nice and grippy, meaning that I don't feel like I need to add extra glue to this. I can, if I want to, I can add a little bit of hypo cement or, E6000 on a toothpick to the knots and let it dry. It's going to dry clear. You're never going to see it. However, the texture of the outside of this leather it has like, I don't really know how else to explain it other than grippy. It grips onto itself. So I feel really secure in my knots. I don't feel like they're going to slip open or anything like that. So I don't know that I necessarily need the glue. Whereas there are some leathers, that when you knot with them, that they feel too slippery, and you do want to add glue. But I think this is nice leather that I don't feel like I need to do anything to. So at this point, I'm just going to come in and trim off and leave myself whatever little dangles I want. Or you can add glue, like I mentioned, and you can cut all the way to behind your button so you don't even see the leather that's left over, unless you just like it. I kind of like it, so I leave mine.
That's nice. Those are great tips.
So we are going to take this to the next level. I do want to show you what it looks like before we add the dangles to it, and I do want to kind of hop over to the other tying station really quickly before we move on, so you can see how that goes together.
And for folks that haven't used the tying station, will you just show us kind of the basics of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the tying station it's all made out of acrylic. It's super easy to use. You've got, let me lift everybody up just a little bit here. So it's a Bead product, says here on the bottom. It's got two ends that are a series of acrylic plates that are held together with a peg and a washer. And basically, to attach, you have a couple of different options. You can, just like you saw me do a second ago, you can take your materials and create a loop and put it over the peg. Or if you're going to use like bead stringing wire, you can, or any other thing that you want to use, where if you don't want to tie a loop in it, you can simply just place it between your acrylic plates and tighten it down that way, right? So don't lose your washer. I always want to tell people that part. Don't lose the washer. If you lose the washer and you take your goodness, what is this part?
The spinny spin.
If you take your spinny spin,
think of the word.
If you tighten this down, the wing nut, if you tighten the wing nut down without that washer, if you tighten it down too much, you can crack your acrylic plate. So it's really important not to lose your washer. But you can attach that, and then look, it's not going to go anywhere. It's nice and secure. Could do the same thing over here on the other end. However, this side is adjustable, right? So if you're working on a shorter piece, you can slide this up, right? Yeah, definitely a wing nut. It came out of my mouth eventually. It just took my brain a minute to get there. So what happens is you've got both ends secure so that you can use both hands, which is nice, right? It also has the ruler here so you can keep up with your measurements. And it's just, I really love it. I use my tying station for everything, obviously, because I have like 4 of them. I use them for a lot of different things. But when it comes to like knotting and things, it's super, super handy. So, thank you, Pauline. Pauline's using our super stickers over on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
That's so much. That's awesome. So if you were going to make the exact same bracelet that we just made, right, and you want to use the bead stringing wire as the core, you're going to, just like we did with the leather, you're going to preload your beads onto your bead stringing wire. I'm trying to see if I've got something around here that I could use to demonstrate with. Let's see.
You got the whole box of SBS beads somewhere.
I know. It's right here at my fingertips. I'm trying not to. Here, let's use some of these. I know these are kind of large, but that's all right. We can use them anyway. So I've got some of these coffee jasper rounds that you sent.
Oh, lovely.
Which are nice and big, but you can go ahead and thread all of the beads that you're going to use, just like you would like we did with the previous project, right? And then you're just going to secure your end. Okay, so now since we have bead stringing wire as our core, but we still want to create those really cool knots, we're going to cut another piece of our leather But this time, we don't need a full 24 inches of the leather to do that. We only need, like, I'm going to say maybe 12 to 14 inches of leather. And what you're going to do is you could just tie an overhanded knot if you wanted to attach your leather to your bead stringing wire. Or you can do like a lark's head knot at the end. So you wouldn't do it in the middle. You would do it down here. Basically, you're just going to take your two pieces, or your one piece of leather, you're going to fold it in half towards the end and create a loop, right? And you're going to take that loop underneath your bead stringing wire, and then you're just going to pull your ends through that loop. And then when you pull, you've got a little lark's head knot. So you've tied your leather onto your bead stringing wire. You can slide it down. I've got a short end that I can deal with at the end, right? I can tie a knot or whatever I need to do, add some glue. But what's most important is that I have this long working end of my leather. Now I can treat it all exactly the same way. I'm going to slide my bead up, right? Do the same steps, just making that P shape.
So now you get a leather bracelet without actually needing the beads to fit on any leather.
Exactly, right? Whoops, I pulled that loose, but you can see. So I'm still knotting and you're still seeing just the beads and the leather, but your core for this is not a piece of leather. It's your piece of bead stringing wire, which means that when you get to the end of this, right, take it off of the tying station and you've got an end here that you can put a crimp on and a wire guardian, or loop it through a clasp, or whatever you need to do to finish it off. You really don't see the bead stringing wire at all, but it is there. You just treat it the same way you would any other stringing project. But what you see in the actual design is the beads and the leather. So
what would be your go-to knot if you did want to put like a full secure knot between each bead?
So if I wanted to do a full secure knot between each bead, I would do the second step of the knot that I'm actually doing. So basically the knot that I'm doing is the first step of a lark's head knot with a single strand. So let me back up and I'll show you. So it would be the P shape, right? Going across the core, taking it back behind, up through my P shape and pull. Now, if I wanted a full knot, I'm going to do the same thing, a P shape, but this time it's going underneath the core. And I'm taking my tail down through that P shape, and then I would pull. And when you look at it, you see it's a full on lark's head knot, just like what we started with up here. That's the full knot. So then if you wanted to slide up, you've got a full knot between, right?
Oh,
whereas
cool.
this one is just a loop over, this one is the full knot.
That's very cool. And what's also cool about, I guess, the 1mm leather is you can use it as a single strand, like kind of like hemp, and knot between it as well. I guess would be kind of the next option here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, then you can also just, I'm kind of passionate about knotting. I don't know if you can tell or not, but
I'm loving this.
You can fill this up with beads too. So you can slide a bead over, right? This whole little section that's right here, if you wanted to put beads on it, you could. You know what I'm saying? And then, so you can have beads, like a single bead with like a bunch of beads right here. Like whatever, put some Czech glass rounds on here, some little 4mm. You could probably fit like maybe 4mm rounds underneath here. So then what you're getting is a bead, 4 beads, and a leather knot in between. So you're taking it like to a whole nother textural place, right?
That's
so
cool.
So many options. Okay, so let's go back to the one that we did, which was this one. And you know that if I can see daylight between the bead and the material, it's like, oh, that's the perfect place to add a dangle. So I got dangles for mine. And I just so happen to have some more amazing Czech glass beads here.
Oh, look at
And
those lovely flowers.
look at these beautiful flowers. Tell us about these flowers.
This is one of another new shape in the shop. These are our fairy tale flowers. They're like a perfect 10 millimeter, almost snowflake type flower to me.
Gosh, they're so pretty.
And we have them in like 20 colors, so you can make a whole bouquet of them.
Yeah.
So I somehow picked like one color to send Sarah that I thought would look nice with the leather. It's this lovely red. I'll grab the exact name in just a moment. But I put all the colors on that page as well. And by the way, if you want to find that page in the future, it will be on the classes tab of the website. For whatever reason, it's not. I keep clicking publish and nothing's happening, but it will be there. And I also have a direct linked in below this video. I think those are the rustic red luster with the copper finish. Does that ring a bell to the bag you had?
That seems right. Yes. Let's see. I've got the little bag in here somewhere. Bronze red.
Oh, there we go. It is the bronze red, folks. Oh yeah, there's two reds, so that's the bronze red. Cool. Thank you, Sarah.
You are welcome.
Pat says, can we purchase these flower beads now? Yes, all 19 colors of them are on the website. Absolutely. If you would like some flowers, they are available right now.
I'm a sucker for a flower bead. Any shaped flower is a good flower. And I'm a huge fan of these. I think they're very, very pretty. And I like that you mentioned that they kind of look like a snowflake, because that really kind of gives these beads an amazing shelf life, because that means that I can also use these in the winter time for other designs as well, which is awesome. Yeah. So I'm just putting all of mine onto some wrapped loops. And you could do simple loops if you wanted to, but I'm going to attach mine to all of those little spaces with a jump ring. I need one more head pin here. So I'm just taking them all, popping them onto a head pin, and then doing a wrapped loop. Now you could cut your own wire if you wanted to. I'm just saving time by using a pre-made head pin. But I'm going up and over, rotate the pliers, take the wire over to the other side, and then I'm wrapping in that space. You could potentially wire wrap these directly to your leather. You can actually even pre-string these onto your leather as you're knotting. So you don't have to do this as just like an afterthought like I'm doing. You could do this in mid project, if you will. Totally up to you. However you get them attached is going to work.
I feel like I would do this same. I think it makes sense to me to complete the bracelet. Also, I like that the bracelet does work on its own as well.
Yeah.
It's very satisfying.
Yeah.
So if you get tired, by the end of it, you're like, you did your 5 minutes. Like, I'm good now.
Yeah.
You can wear it. You could gift it. You're done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's super, super quick, which, sometimes when you're making jewelry, you need something in a hurry. This is definitely one of those projects that without the dangles, you could do this really, really quickly. I mean, because you saw I knotted all those beads in less than 5 minutes. So just a little bit of practice making that loop around with your leather and you're good to go. So I'm just using some very small little jump rings. I think they're a little 4mm jump rings. And I'm just attaching these to the leather. Just kind of sliding those between the leather and the bead. And then popping my little dangle on there and closing those back. And they are going to move around. They're going to slide back and forth. And you also have enough room here. Like I said, you could put more beads on the leather here, or you could hang more dangles if you wanted to, like totally up to you. But I'm loving this color combination. These like frosty etched beads with this color of the flower, and then you throw in the leather color. Yeah, this palette is beautiful.
I always have like palette ideas when I send things to you. but because I sent Sarah a mix of different stones, and I mean, this was a few weeks ago now, so I'm like, wait, what was the original palette? I guess I sent those to go together. I feel like I must have been feeling pretty bold. I'm not usually that bold, but it works. It doesn't even look that crazy to me.
Yeah, so pretty, so pretty. All right, so I'm going to attach all of these very, very quickly, and then I'm going to show you guys that 6mm leather. I'm going to show you how to put the cord ends on. I'm going to show you, like, give you some, we can talk about what's possible with that 6mm cord. Because I don't want people to shy away from it because they're like, oh, it's so big, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. I'm glad we're doing a 6mm project next. I think we're gonna have to do another leather day, Sarah. I think there's so now I want to see more. It was really cool.
Say less, Sam. You just made my day. Say less. Yes, please. Let's do another leather day. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. And any kind of other stringing materials that you ever decide that you want to have in the shop, you just let me know, because I'm all about. It's just, you know how I'm all about wire all day, every day. I get really excited when I get to work with other materials. So
yeah, and we have the Belon in the shop, which I know is something you use a lot.
I love Belon.
We haven't used that a lot on our streams, and then we've also got a lot of requests. Actually, this is a good question to throw out. What are the other cords you would love to see at the shop? Because there's so many. It's actually overwhelming as a shop owner to even pick which one to do next. So right now we have like a lot of your basics. We have like your wire, stringing wire, Fireline, Wildfire, leather, Belon, I think, and more. But then, so what's next? Is it like wax linen? Is it hemp? Like what? It'd be really helpful to know what folks are wanting next.
Look how pretty! Love that! Love that!
Oh my gosh, Sarah, I love it. It's so pretty.
So pretty. It really is. So I'm a fan of waxed cords. I'm also a fan of hemp, but they can work interchangeably. So whatever everybody else decides, I'm all about it. I'm excited. It doesn't matter to me which y'all pick. I'll do something fun with it for you. You just decide. All right, so that's our bracelet. That was pretty much it. I mean, you do the exact same thing if you're using the bead stringing wire as your cord or as your core. Instead of your button, though, you could definitely use just like a lobster clasp or some other decorative clasp if you wanted to. I do love the button go-to, though, because it's so easy. So, all right, let's talk about the 6mm cord.
Yeah, I want to pull up the page really quick while we go to the next project. So I just finally got this to stick. So if you go to samsbeadshop.com, this is on the top of the website right now, but if you need it in the future, we have this new, whoops, LOL, there we go. Talking to myself here. So I finally got the leather to show here. So that'll take you right to the page for today. And everything we use today is here. Just click shopped items featured in class to see all of them. And then for future reference, Rachel and I have been trying to add more and more to our classes page here. So you'll see like some of Sarah's past streams, and each of them has the supply list for those. It's not exhaustive yet, just because this is a newer page, but I wanted to show folks that this is helpful if you want to have easy access to find the items that were used. Alrighty, and now back to Sarah.
So with the, I really was just kind of playing around and included this in the picture, not necessarily because it's a full-blown project, but just because it's just some really cool inspiration. So it's really just some more of those knots that I showed Sam, where he asked for the full knot in between. That's exactly what these knots are, is just some of those lark's head knots that I made with some of the 2mm leather onto the 6mm leather. And I just basically tied some barrel knots here on either end to secure the leather and then trimmed it off. You'd add a little bit of glue here. Now, barrel knots are not something that I'm super great at doing. So I wasn't super thrilled to show you guys this part, just because I feel like I'm not really good at it. But we can walk through it. And if I mess it up the first time, we can do it a second time. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do these knots, but one of the ways that I learned how to do it, and I seem to mess up on a regular basis, is where you take the end and you fold it in half. You've got a little loop here. You're going to lay it across whatever you're knotting to. We're knotting onto this 6 millimeter cord. Okay, we're going to take the short end and we're going to take our long end of the leather, and we're actually going to loop around, making like a coil around the 6 millimeter leather and our little short cord here, the short end. Okay, so we get down here to the other end after we've looped around. You can do 2 or 3 loops, whatever kind of little coils you want to make. Then you're going to take the other end and you're going to stick it through the coils and through the loop, and then you're going to pull. And I always mess it up. I messed it up. I let go. That's
and this is why I'm not demonstrating the barrel knot.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Listen.
But I know Sarah can. She's giving herself a hard time. I know she's the master of a barrel knot.
No, it's just a matter of not letting go, and that is 9 times out of 10 the problem that I have is I let go before I should. That's why you don't see me do this in a lot of projects, because like I said, I will mess it up almost every time. It takes me 1 or 2 tries. Sticking your leather back through the coils. I'm sure that there are other people.
Is this where folks use the straw? Is this where the straw method comes in?
Yeah, the straw is much better at this than I am with just freehanding it for sure. And then it's the pull down, and I messed it up again. I'm gonna give up. I give up. I messed it up. I'm giving up. No, I didn't. You
totally got it.
No, I did get it. You just have to, you have to pull all of your cord. Okay. And then you've got a short end here where you can trim off. I probably would add some glue here before you trim that off.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you've got a long end that you can work with, right? So the long end, if you want, you can do some of those knots that we did. So that was the P shape over the top. Now the P shape is going behind, coming down through and pull. Right. And then you can see there's daylight there. So that means, hey, I can add a jump ring and a dangle if I wanted to. You don't have to do this knot. You can do whatever you want to do, but you can take the 2 leathers and play with them together is basically what I'm trying to get at. You can take hemp, you can take like waxed linen, like you talked about. You can literally take anything and macrame onto or knot onto this thicker leather, and then you can add beads to it. So just because you don't have a bead that's got a big enough hole to go over this doesn't mean that you can't include some really cool beads in your 6 millimeter leather projects, right?
Will you walk us through those P knots again? Just because it looks a little different on the 6 millimeter.
Yeah, absolutely. So your 6 millimeter is your core. You're going to take the smaller leather, your 2 millimeter in this instance. You're making a P shape, and it's coming across the top of that 6 millimeter leather. You're taking the cord behind and up through the P shape that you made, and then you're going to pull. Okay. Now, where we did this with the beads, we just slid up another bead, right? But if you're making the full knot, the second step of the knot is you're making the P shape, but it's going behind the 6 millimeter leather. And then instead of going behind and up through, we're going in front of and down through that P shape that we made. And then you're going to pull.
It goes reverse.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the 2 steps, right? And like I said, it leaves some little spaces here where you have like little places where you could put a jump ring, right, if you wanted to, or you could wire wrap onto. So you sent me this gorgeous piece. Oh my goodness. This amazing piece of apatite, and it needs to hang from this. So I'm going to do a knotted head pin here. Let me grab some wire. I'm going to take some 22 gauge, and I'm using artistic wire today, but German style wire is usually what I use. Just happens to be this is what is on hand at the moment. So, all right. Now I'm going to use my round nose pliers if I can find those. All right. Round nose pliers. I'm grabbing the very tip of the wire at the tip of the pliers. I'm going to roll that around the tip of the pliers once. I'm going to go a second time directly underneath that one. And then I'm going to stop where I see the cut in the wire. Before I take this off of the tool, I'm going to bend the wire out this direction. So when I bend the wire, it's going underneath the two little coils I made and away from my hand and the tool. Take it off. You're going to take the tail end of the wire, stick it back through those two little coils, and then you're going to grab this with your nylon jaw pliers, and you want to grab right up against the two little coils that you made, and you're going to pull. And that just pulls a knot into the end of your wire. So you've got yourself a knotted little head pin. We're going to thread
most cute head pin in the world
on our gorgeous now pendant.
Yes.
And we're going to do a wraps loop.
Look at Wanda. Look at Wanda.
we do have all of the things she loves today.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to go up and over my round nose pliers, and I'm actually going to go around my chain nose pliers or my round nose pliers a second time. You don't have to. Sometimes I just like to, make it a little bit thicker. And then I'm going to wire wrap in that space. And because I doubled my loop, I'm going to actually double my wire wraps too. So I'm going to go back over my wire wraps and just make them a little chunky monkey. So you can see I've got a thick wire wrap and a double loop here, which is just nice. And, I don't know, it just feels a little bit more balanced with this larger bead.
Yeah, I like it. And then you could use the rest of wire to make a curly Q.
Oh, I could have. Yep. You could have made a little decorative swirly here on the front if I hadn't cut that off so fast. But then I'm just
that'd be a good challenge day. Is how many ways can Sarah mix together her wire work and her leather work in a project? Because I feel like we're getting a sample right now.
Three. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna attach this right. Oh, don't get me started. I could go forever. Like I'm using all of my favorite things. So I would not be mad about it. You give me an amazingly fun challenge, that's for sure. So I'm just taking my jump ring and just sticking it through one of those little spots, right? And then I'm just going to attach my pendant here. Now, what I want to show you next before we go, because we are right at the top of the hour here, so I do need to let everybody go, but I want to show you guys the cord ends because Sam does have ways to finish your cord. Look how pretty. That might not have been exactly the middle, but
it's so nice.
Look how pretty. And then
that's actually just like a great design, Sarah. Like that feels very trendy.
I think so too. I like it a lot. It's not a whole lot, but it's just enough, So with the cord ends here, you've got, oh, I love it.
That's so sweet.
That is awesome.
Thanks, Brittany.
So Sam, you've got some cord ends that are going to fit both the 2mm and the 6mm, right?
Yeah. So we got a few options from TR Cast just because we wanted nice, easy ways to finish leather. There are ways to do it with wire. I was experimenting. I did pull some hair out. Ultimately, I left it at that. I just prefer using the cord ends because they're just so much simpler. So we have the 2mm cord ends that'll fit your 1.5 to 2mm leather. And then that's what Sarah's got there. There's a couple options of styles and tons of finishes. And then because the 6mm is such a specialty type of leather, we wanted to make sure in one swoop you could also get the ends for those as well. So we have 2 styles of 6mm leather cord ends. They fit the round leather particularly well. If you get our 6mm braided leather, you need to trim just the edge, like very end of your leather a little bit just to get it a tiny bit smaller.
Right.
But this one I've been finding fits really, really snugly.
Yeah. And really, guys, all you want to do is just add a little bit of glue down inside there. I will take like a wire scrap. Like I've got a little piece of wire scrap right here. I usually will take my glue, put it on a scrap piece of paper, and then use my scrap wire to put it down inside here instead of taking the tip of the glue container and squirting it into the cap. Because I find that what happens is if I put the glue directly into the cap without putting it on something else first, I always get too much because I'm very heavy handed. And then when I go to put my cord end on, it squeezes out the end. So you don't need a ton of glue because they do fit nicely. You can see it's nice and snug on there already. So you don't have to use a ton of glue, right? And you definitely don't want it to squirt out the ends because then you got to clean it all off of your leather and your cord ends and that whole thing. So Lorena says, what kind of glue would work for that type of leather? So here's the thing. It's really kind of up to you. I know that most people go with E6000, E7000 or E6500. I don't know. All those glues. They tend to work really well with the leather and they dry really clear. However, they are an elastic glue. And my problem with an elastic glue, if you are hard on jewelry, now I'm not saying this is true for everybody. This is just my opinion. Elastic glue, if I am particularly hard on something like a bracelet, over time, the elasticity of the glue will stretch out and it will pull apart. And that's just if you're really hard on your pieces. If you're not hard on it, don't worry about it. My favorite glue to use with this would be a gel-based super glue. Like Bead FX, that, or Bead Fix, or whatever it is. That's a good one. It really is a super glue. But any of the gel super glues, you just need to use the smallest amount though, because what happens with some of the super glues, particularly the ones that are not necessarily made for jewelry making, is they have this haze that happens. The haze will get on the leather and it will also get onto the bead, the cord end. Even if you don't see it, if you think that it's not there, it's some sort of chemical reaction that happens with those kinds of glues, and it will create a haze, and you won't even notice it for 24 hours, right? You'll put this away, you'll come back to it the next day, be ready to wear it, and you'll notice there's like this fog that's on there, and there's no way to get that fog off. So you only need the smallest amount of glue. That's why I say it's better to use a toothpick or a scrap of metal and put it inside the bead cap instead of putting it on the tip of the leather or down inside the bead cap just directly from the container. Ask me how I know. I've ruined many a bead cap that way. So Leslie says gel resin. Yeah, gel resin is great too. 2-part epoxies, anything like that. It's really just going to kind of be up to you to decide. The most important thing though is the smallest amount possible is what you want to use.
Okay.
Don't overdo it. But yeah,
that's really helpful.
And then
wow, we covered a lot here, and then that's the necklace. Like that's the necklace there,
and that's it. Maybe a jump ring and a clasp, and you're done. And like, you've got this really beautiful piece of jewelry that you could wear by itself or layer it up with some other pieces. The color palette works even with the bracelet that we made. Like that's a beautiful little set right there in 2 totally different, 2 different colors, but they look so pretty together.
When I get more of the turquoise sold out very quickly in the 1mm and the 2mm. When I get those back in stock, I'm gonna have to send them to you because it's like a full matching set with that 6mm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really fun.
Love that.
Do you have dream colors of leather, Sarah?
Dream colors. I'm I'm a huge fan of any of the browns. This one right now is absolutely my favorite. It looks good with everything. I always put things against my hair. I'm like, how does it go with my hair? This one looks perfect with my hair, as does this teal color as well. So, I don't tend to use a lot of black, and I probably should. But it's like beads too. I don't use a lot of black beads, so I don't use a lot of black leather, but I always want to, because it's classy and it's pretty and it works with everything. So I probably need to bring more black, into my jewelry making life. But grays, any shade of gray, I love.
I've been liking grays ever since the Pantone gray year.
Yeah.
I started liking it more.
Yeah. It's a great neutral that I think is very underrated. So if you can start incorporating it in small ways, like with your leather, and it not necessarily be your beads, then maybe you'll get more comfortable using it in bead form, So yeah.
So cool. Sarah, this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I loved their show. It was a fun one to do. These are great projects, and I'm obviously super excited about getting to use anything that's not wire for a minute. So, so thank you.
I know, because you've done some great knotting projects on your channel.
Yeah.
So we might have to do. Because we've only done like couple loom cloth. It's amazing. Just there's endless possibilities.
Oh my gosh! And you know what? Speaking of, just before we go, you can always use your leather on your loom.
Yeah. And
it makes beautiful projects as well. So like your leather can really be versatile. You can do so many things with it.
Ooh, we might have to get that. It might be time to loom. That's the idea that's probably exciting me the most now for another leather day.
Yeah.
I love the look of the leather on the loom. It's so special looking.
It really is. It's really beautiful. And you can use it as just the edging, or you can use it as the full, all of the warps with the leather. Like you've got options. So
yeah. Oh, I'm excited. Do you want to see something from tonight's live sale?
Yeah.
Hold, please. I'll show you two things before we hop off. Number one, I have been looking for nice sunstone forever.
Oh my goodness.
I want to just live in these.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. So
I know
pretty.
As an orange lover, I thought you might appreciate these.
Oh yeah. Love those. Those are gorgeous.
And then we've had a lot of requests for opals lately, so we have our next round of opals coming up tonight that I have to show you. Can you see these?
Oh my gosh.
Can't quite. Oh, how do I show you better?
Oh, yes, those are gorgeous.
Here, move my keys. Look at these.
Oh my goodness! Look at the fire in those.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow, those are beautiful.
I'm very excited about tonight. So I hope folks will come join our little party Tuesday night, 5 o'clock Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Come join our very sparkly party tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't this crazy?
Those
so
are
none
beautiful.
of these are available until tonight. So if you do want them, you have to get first dibs on the live sale.
So pretty. So pretty.
I'm very excited. So I hope I get to continue hanging with you guys. And Sarah, I could do this all day with you. You know that.
Mary says that noise you hear is my credit card flying.
It's so funny because I just basically try to get the things that people are requesting. But then the issue is that then I start having the things that people want.
I mean, that's kind of a good problem, right?
It's like I get stuck in between both these things. Folks are like, Sam, why do you stop? But then I get all these messages, Sam, where are the opals? I didn't get any opals.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is here. So here I am.
You're our dealer. Sam's our dealer.
I guess it could be worse.
It's true. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. So don't forget to check out the live sale tonight. Don't want to miss that at all. Wanda's
What do you
yelling
got
at me.
coming
There
up?
was a question. I think it was a question about glue, and I believe that Susie asked if GS Hypo Cement is a elastic glue. Yes, it is an elastic glue. Just so those of you who need to know that it is an elastic glue, which is fine. It's just if you're hard on jewelry like I am, it's not always the best choice. So. Hope I got that question right. Don't forget Hardwired is meeting at 4 p.m. Eastern today. We're making a really cool pendant that would make some beautiful earrings. I think I want it as earrings. But yeah.
It reminds me of the horseshoe pendant from our box.
Yeah, that's what it made me think of too when it got finished. I was like, I know why I made this. Now I get it. Yeah, I love that.
That's so cool.
And then our Feel Good Friday show is at 1 p.m. on Friday. That's Eastern time. Don't forget to come and hang out for that as well. And that's it for me. That's it. Well, Master Maker is at 4 p.m. on Friday too, but I always give another update. But yeah, looking forward to seeing Hardwired later and everybody at Sam's sale. So awesome. Thank you, Sam. What a fun show.
Sarah. This was lovely. Well, we should do this again sometime.
I think we probably should.
I think we actually are scheduled for a week from today for June box.
Yes.
June. So, folks, I think a lot of folks have a June box. If you're not subscribed, you might be able to convince Jesse to let you subscribe now and maybe have him still send you the June box at the lower price point. I think you might be able to sweet talk him. So we will be working with the June box. I've heard Sarah might be liking it so far, is what the rumor mill's telling me.
It is very, very quickly taking the top place in my favorites. I'm obsessed. I've made the first thing I did was make something for myself. I can't show it to you until I'm making you wait. But I made myself a bracelet and I have been wearing it, and I'm in love with this box. It is my favorite.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
Rachel and I unboxed that on Friday. So if you want to catch the official unboxing, that is on Friday at 3:00 Pacific, which I don't think conflicts with Sarah's streams. You can both the Sarahs are before that.
Yeah.
Because they're Eastern time. Yeah. So catch Sarah, Danielle, and then catch the official unboxing on Friday. Should be a lot of fun. I think that's it for me.
That's it for me. We love you guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button.
Bye, guys.